Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Daily Dreamer. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out and sharing a dream or two with me. My apologies, I couldn't quite get your video out. Imagine this, earthly obligations took me away from Dream World. But now that we're back, let's go back to Cosmic Land. All right, so I wake up, I come to, and I'm walking out of a building. And there is a parking lot in front of me, and they're filled with cars. Okay, so I know that I'm supposed to be going in this car. I'm supposed to be going somewhere. Don't know where I'm going. But I get into the car. There's a person in the front seat, passenger. I don't know who that is. But there's a friend in the back seat. Now, this friend reaches forward, and most of the older generation will know this. I was driving a stick shift. I love stick shifts. And he reaches forward, but as though he's going to control the gears. And I start rolling out, and I realize as he's reaching forward, the way his positioning was, I could not see if there was another car coming. Yet I'm still rolling out. And I was like, dude, let go. And he's like, no, I've got this. And I was like, no, let go. I can't see it. We're not going anywhere if you don't let go. He refused to let go. I don't know if he thought that I didn't know or what, but he just wouldn't let go. And then it finally dawned on me that I was in control. So I pressed on the brake, and I was just like, we're not going anywhere until you learn to let go. And he refused. And in fact, I looked over at the passenger who just had nothing to say. And I was like, ugh. So we sat there, all the dream, and argued and tried to get him to let go. He finally did let go, but my gosh, it was not an easy process. But when he finally did let go, what a relief it was. But man, it took the whole dream to convince him to finally let go. And then when he did, okay, great. That was a relief. I started rolling back out of the parking lot to go where I needed to go. But then I was whisked back to consciousness. So, wow, what a dream, right? All right, so what happens from there? I wake up and I go into a meditative state to find out what these dreams may mean. And guess what comes to me today, folks? Letting go. 'Tis the season, right? But in learning about letting go, I learned that letting go is a very unique process to each and every individual in their unique situations. However, letting go is something that is always just thrown around nowadays. Oh, just let it go, you say to your loved one when you're in an argument or you need to leave an uncomfortable or negative situation. You just let it go, right? You just don't want to deal with it. Well, that's not letting go, folks. Letting go is not material possessions either, although some of us who are quite obsessed with these material items probably should let it go. And for some, it is a letting go process because by letting go some of these items that could be of emotional attachment, that is sort of a letting go process, is it not? It's not an easy process. We know that. No, letting go is not so much of walking, venting, denial. It's not that. Because while all of those may seem it, that you're letting go, you're really not addressing the situation. You're really not addressing the root cause, although it may mask itself to appear that you are letting go. So let's learn a little bit more about what they say letting go truly means. We all know that letting go truly is a detachment, and that detachment is an awareness. It's an inquiry into you. Folks, if we live in so much of a me society today, then why are we not taking 5 minutes for the me inside? We are so all about out there, telling everyone who we are. It's all about me. But who really knows the me inside of them, right? What is holding you back, folks? We are supposed to be a planet of integration, not a planet of polarities. Yet all we're doing is out there arguing what's right. I want to hear my opinion through your mouth. Did I about sum it up? Folks, that's not how this works. We can all learn to get and live together, but we have to get to know the me in here first before we can accept others, right? So often we want everyone to just be together and be happy and be peaceful, but we can't even shake our neighbor's hand. Folks, we need to wake up. Listen, don't mistake letting go for denial or ignoring your feelings. Don't mistake letting go for the expressing or the releasing of the feelings either. Those are two totally different things. In fact, when the process of letting go starts, it is when you get to a point of when you are done, literally dealing with those feelings. It is when you start recognizing that those feelings that are keeping you angry, bitter, negative, depressed, it's realizing that point that you are done with holding on to it. It is also a realization of you're tired of walking off the stress and now you're ready to finally deal with it. And that's by sitting there taking 5 minutes for you guys. That's what that is. It's a realization, they say, that happens naturally through awareness and inquiry. All right. They say that our reality, our perception, our portion of truth is like the vision of a motorcycle helmet. And it's like all the reality of it's all the crap that ends up on your visor, like all the bug splat and all the bird crap and all the scratches and whatnot. Pretty soon that visor gets clouded over and you can't quite see clear anymore. But you just keep going blindly because, well, you think you know the road. That's not very good. We need to clean off our visors, folks. They say once you can clearly see, then your consciousness is free to go anywhere and be anything. But you got to wake up first. You got to wake up to see that. It's funny because they say that the way to go about this process is finally, after you're done recognizing your feelings, and after you're done dealing with the physical exertion of it, and you're ready to sit and deal with it, they say it's called the ego annihilation. And it is no walk in the park. You're your own worst enemy here. Folks, don't get in your own way. That's what you're doing. You're getting in your own way of dealing with it. But if you sit and you deal with it, it's going to lead to a much more sense of freedom for yourself. So the ego annihilation, they say it is no walk in the park, folks. It's more like a walk in the dark night of a soul, surrounded by the angry abyss. Wow. It says that's really just a small-minded version of you not wanting to lose what it feels is the essence of you, your ego. But the essence of you was never you. It never was. So, yeah, all right. They say the key, detach from everything. They say that we are the only ones who ever hold anything, let anything have power over us. And that is true. It happens because they say that we're ignorant of the truth. And the truth is right here. We just refuse to sit with ourselves. They say that it happens, of course, when we're tense, when we're overly left brain with our logic and our realizations of rationalization. And it's what we believe. That's what we were taught. When you're so attached to an outcome and when it doesn't go your way, then what happens? You become traumatized. Then you can't seem to let it go. It's that right there. Being attached so much to an outcome that traumatized you that now you're just holding on. What are you holding on to? All that negativity? Is it serving you? Folks, come on now. I know we're smarter than that. It says when we get our minds set on something that needs to be done a certain way, or that we need to be in a certain place, or maybe even a certain time, when we think that our goals of any sort are set in stone, we're setting ourselves up for trouble. Our beliefs, they say, are a big part of this. It's made us who we are. Our opinions, the things that we don't let go, it keeps us from truly seeing. They say that in that state, we're truly unconscious. They tell us that we are going to be able to find ourselves. It says our ways go past ourselves, past our devils. It says you have to be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. Ego annihilation leads to the ashes from which the phoenix arises. Why are we all not flying in the skies, folks? But of course, for that to happen, there has to be the descent. The descent has to happen first. There has to be a tearing apart, a burning down of the sacred disintegration. But boy, it's going to be a hard one, folks. The funny thing is that when it's all said and done, your wrong turns now don't become wrong turns. They become right turns. You get to stop at the red lights now and not worry about where you got to be, because now you can take a moment to enjoy the scenery. It's funny because now things become adventures. And once you're ready to let go and actually sit with yourself for 5 minutes, I think, folks, you're going to understand that this planet of integration is more likely possible than not. So, folks, thanks so much for coming and hanging out with me. Until next dream, many blessings to you and thanks.